Hey everyone, Joe Menza here. Thanks for joining me. We're going to do a nice little painting here, mountain scene, which I really enjoy. And this is on Fabriano 11 by 14 Studio 140-pound cold press. So we're going to start out. We're going to wet our paper down. This is a continuous spray water bottle. You can get this online, places like Amazon. Spray your paper down with this. It's nice because it keeps spraying out a nice continuous mist. Once you do that, you can take a brush. This is a large hake brush. We call it a hake. It's pronounced hake. This brush here you can use to blend in the water, and we'll use it for other things as we go. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put in a nice blue sky. Now I also have this water cup here. This has water in it. And I can dip this in here and make my brush nice and wet. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to take some white gouache. And our white gouache is going to be our binder for everything in the painting. So I'm going to take and squirt a little of that out. I don't know if you can see that there. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that on my brush like this. And I'm going to cover the whole paper with this white gouache. This is a Winsor & Newton product. Your mileage may vary. Now while that's still wet, I'm going to dry the brush. We're going to wash the brush out. And I'm going to pick up some cobalt blue, and we'll do a little cobalt blue and a little ultramarine blue. And then I'm going to cover 3/4 of the way down with blue. Now if you want it a little stronger, we'll go a little stronger, like so. And just blend that in. This is a 140-pound Fabriano. And if you want to, at some point, have water, you can put a little bit down here. This could be for water later. And if you want your horizon line a little higher, you can take a little bit back off again. Now, while this is still wet, and this is important, we're going to come back with a fan brush. You have to work quickly with this. And we're going to take our gouache. And we're going to get it loaded up on the fan brush. And then we're going to put in some cloud shapes. Don't fuss on this too much. Nice little pattern, however you want to do it. A little bit here. Okay. Now, this is the critical part. I'm going to take a nice, this brush is totally dry. It's not been used. And we're going to take and we're just going to softly, I mean, I can't stress how gentle of a touch you need here. Because if you go too hard, you're going to lose everything. So we're just gently, until you get the feel for it. As it dries, you'll be able to hit it harder and harder. And as you can see, we got a nice cloud. If you go too much with it, you'll lose it in the background. Okay, so we're going to leave that go now. And now we're going to go to, this is another hake brush that's smaller. This is like a medium size. And then we're going to jump in and we're going to get Let's pick up some brown and some indigo. Now I'll show you that color. Always have scrap paper laying around so you can test out your color. That's a little too dark. So we're going to go in and get some more brown. And you can get the bristles of the brush wet again by dipping it in the water a little bit. And that's still too much. Let's pick up some more brown. That's why it's great to have this paper here. It's still entirely too dark, so I'm just going to wear some of that off. And that's pretty dark, but we're going to go ahead and do it. So, put a nice big mountain in here. And that's pretty much it. You can go a little bit darker than that if you want to, especially in the shadow side. Now we're going to go back to our spray bottle, and we're going to spray just the bottom of that. I'm just going to blot a little bit of this back out. Now we'll come back to that mountain shortly, but first I'm going to go back to my fan brush. This is a smaller fan brush. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and make some we'll go ahead and put some foliage in here. Maybe some sap green, a little bit of indigo just to darken it up quickly. And come underneath where that little softening off that you did. And you can even add a little bit of yellow to that and go right on top. And then what I like to do is I like to turn the side of the brush and create some treetops. It's just the illusion of some treetops. Just put a little shadow underneath here. I'm not too worried about what happens up in here, but you can see we have that going now. Now, we'll go ahead and go back to the fan brush while we're waiting for that. And we're going to jump into, take some sap green. We're just going to make some, leave some spaces there and come in with different colors, yellow, green, yellow ochre, and you now have, immediately you have two land masses here. A little bit of indigo. And we're not going to do too much more with that. Now, let's do a little, just a little bit, some darks in here. Just add a little bit of dark to it. And we come back into that brown. We can put a little bit of base to that land here a little bit. But I'm not too worried about that at the moment. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that fan brush again, and we're going to make up a bluey green color, ultramarine blue and sap green. a little darker. And then we're going to use the shape of the fan brush to make that a little bit darker. Too dark. And just come back and pick up some more yellow and we'll put another one right next to it. Just some darks in here. And I'm going to give that a little bit of a spray just to kind of blend that all together a little bit. It'll run a little bit, that's okay. At this time when this is happening, you can even put some highlights with yellow in there. We're just going to leave that for now and go to the other side. And put some trees up over here. Don't spend a lot of time on this, just quickly. Put a little yellow in there if you want to. We want this to contrast against the background, you see? And I'm just going to put a little bit more indigo in here. I want these trees to go a little higher on the tree if you want to. And there you have that. Now we're going to come back to this mountain now that it's dry. And there's a thing we use. We use a hair dryer in this. We can actually dry this once we get it set the certain way that we want it. And just kind of get it set up. So next I'm going to do something. I'm going to use my finger now. This is the best way to do this, I found. Take them, we're going to get some on my finger. I don't want a lot, but I want enough. I'm kind of dry brushing with my finger, and I'm going to come down, and we're going to go like that. We're going to follow the shape of the mountain. And we're going to make snow on the mountain. Light touch with the finger. Grab some more from up there. And a little bit there. Sort of follow a shape coming down. You can see that. Let's get a little bit more, put it on there. And spread it out. You don't want it to look like your fingerprint. And then we're going to take that and just take our soft brush. Just kind of blend that down a little bit. I'm going to give it a spray. That'll help. At the bottom here, we're going to make like a mist. You see? You see, so we have this coming down. We can blend that into the mist. And now our mountain is very misty. And the great thing about this is you can come back in as much as you want. If you don't like the shape of the snow that you have going. And you could just add a little bit more. And you could add a little bit more. Just a little bit more. We want to see our whites. It's a little wet over there, so I don't want to touch that too much more, but we're going to leave that for now. And again, anything we want to soften off, we can. You see? I'm going to soften this off at the base. Okay. Now, the last thing that we're going to do here is we're going to work on this water now. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to take what's left here of my... I'm going to take this white and a little water and just wet this. I'm going to go back to that cobalt blue. We're going to work on a little bit of blue water there, okay? Then I'm going to take my soft brush again. And we're just going to soften that down a little bit. Now, if it's not softening enough, or it's not doing what you want, give it a little spray. If you want to work on where your whites are, you can always jump back in and pick up a little more white. Like here, maybe you want a little bit more white color to highlight, like that. And then take your soft brush, softly, and if you want more blue, you can always make it bluer. Pick up more cobalt and work that into the wet paint. And you'll have more blue there. Okay, then the next thing we're going to do, we're going to leave that, we're going to dry it. Now, right now we have mostly what I would consider a finished painting. Now I'm going to show you special effects. Okay, the first special effect is going to be this. We can wet this area again. Take our brush, we're going to create some shadows. Pick up some more off your palette. Just use what's on your palette. You can pull this down and just add a little shadow underneath. And you can even do more of that up here. Create a little shadowing there on the water. Okay, And you can take your soft brush, very carefully blend it. It'll look like the wind is whipping past there. Just blend it, okay? Now, this is where a little trick comes in that I use. This is my bottle. I have yellow ochre in this. I'm going to shake it good. The type of bottle you use could cause you a problem if it spatters too much. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to add a little warmth, a little color to this sky. A little yellow up here. A little on the mountain so that it's hitting off the side of the mountain. And then we're going to put a little in the water. Okay? And I'm going to take my soft brush again and just carefully, and you can do this as many times as you need to. You can dry it, you can do it again. Let's go ahead and do that. Once it's pretty dry, if you want more glow, you can come back to this spray, put more in there, put more there. Just take your, got to be careful because you'll disturb the paint underneath. So if you start to see that happening, then just let it sit. As you can see now, we have a nice, lovely glow there. Put some on this side. And now we've got a little glow on this, on the mountain here. We could add a little bit more underneath. You see? And if things start to move, don't be afraid to grab your hairdryer and just clean it up a little bit. Now you see we have this mist, we have the little trees there. Once you dry it, it'll set the paint in place. It's pretty dry. This is the point where you can come in now, and anything that bothers you, maybe a little water ran somewhere, or you can take that time to add some darks. Like here, I can add some dark colors. Add a little bit of that. Mix it up a little bit. And now you see we have the shadow underneath. We have some light coming from the top that glows. If you want to get some back in here, put a little bit more spray back in there, get a nice glow on the water. And then the last thing I like to do, I take a pen. This is a micron pen, and I'll put a couple of birds up top, have a couple birds flying, and that's it. And the last thing I like to do is see how it looks in a mat. So, move this up. Keep this clipped on and take an old mat. And then the last thing we'll do is we'll sign it after it's fully dry, and we have a completed painting. I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed painting it, and I'll see you next time. Okay. Okay, so here is the final, after it's all dry, version. Let's zoom in. You can see everything. Show you the trees and the different variations in the water and how the variations in this little hill played out, and these trees. Here's our birds. You'll notice everything kind of softens down, so what you're going to get at the end isn't always what you put down on paper while it's wet. So that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great, great week.